Hello everyone. Just going to do my little checks just to make sure that we are actually really live, and then with a bit of luck that'll all be good. I think my microphone's still working. I'll just unmute just to check. Will be good. I think my microphone's still working. Great, so there we are, back again, and just in time. So it looks as if Leela and Stockfish did indeed draw this, and now we are looking at Stockfish as white. So let me have a look. I'm not really seeing new PVs here. Oh, is that maybe because it's I've locked it, of course. That's why. Of course, clever. So here we are, knight f5, and Leela also playing h5 as well. This unusual move. So this novelty has been played twice in these games, and well, it was a little bit fraught, but Stockfish seemed to make it pretty all right. So yeah, we're going to see now how Leela actually performs here with black. So 0.37 for Leela, 0.84 for Stockfish. So yeah, we're going to see. So in principle, what we're expecting is that the game will follow the previous one until move 17, and then Leela is going to do something slightly different. So what we're looking at in the Leela PV is the following. So and to be honest, this is much more the type of thing that I was expecting when I prepared this line all those years ago. So not with h5, but still the basic idea, which is g6 here, and then knight e7, c takes b3, bishop b3, takes, queen e7, and this sort of position in which I got rid of the black's queenside pawn on c4. So yeah, black's queenside advantage is much smaller. I've freed my bishop on c2, which is now on a nice diagonal on b3, and also I've got plenty of dark squares to aim at. And for example, you know, move like bishop g5 and queen f3, for example, or you know, possibly eventually aiming for something like f4. We've got knight d5 coming in. This felt like pretty good compensation to me. I thought it was going to be quite difficult for black to get free. So yeah, it will be quite interesting to see what Stockfish thinks of this if Leela goes for it, because of course Stockfish found a pretty complicated exchange sacrifice just to try and I guess, you know, to sort of break up this sort of pressure, and Leela seems to be willing to go into it. So going to be quite interesting to see. So yeah, stream seems to be working fine. It's always a little bit worrying with all this. It's always amazing the number of things that can go wrong. It's in a stream, but well, I mean, thank goodness, you know, it's normally vaguely accepted if things do go wrong as well. But it's yeah, a lot of things, a lot of moving parts to it all the time. All right, so Leela actually looking at queen c6 now. Wow. I mean, how amazing. Isn't that strange? I'm absolutely amazed after just yeah, non-stop looking at queen b6 and then queen d8. Leela's now looking at queen c6. Interesting. I mean, the idea is quite quite an interesting one. We talked about it before. So you want to go queen c6, bishop g5, g6, knight e7. We're going to take, and then you don't take back with a king, which would be a bit suicidal, but you go queen c5, take c7, you know. So it's yeah. So I'm just wondering, you know, how does this make much difference? Are we going to end up in sort of the same thing? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, queen f3, rook d1. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're not getting in b3, I suppose, but yeah, incredible. I mean, really, really amazed somehow. It's because I mean, this happened actually in the in the second game as well. Because I'm pretty sure that Leela's PV, yeah, I mean Leela's PV when it was playing white was 12 Queen b8, and then when it was looking at it from the black side, it played b4, and here it's had only Queen b6 in its PV all the time it was playing white, and now with black it's playing Queen c6. So. Hey, Nap Lindy D, yeah, this is one of my openings again, indeed. Yeah, this is actually analysis of mine from, but from a long time ago. From this will be 1996, 1997. So, so there we are. Well, we've got a divergence already. Fantastic. Leela's doing me proud by choosing different options. It's going to be a pretty different game to the one we got before, which is great. It's hilarious. Well done, Canchess. Fantastic. All's fair in love and gambling on channel points. It's so yeah, Queen c6. What's the point of Queen c6? Well, in some ways it's a good move. Let's just grab the PGN and we will take a look at what is going to happen here. So let me just save that game. Oh, good lord. File, game. Somehow this is a little bit not always. This is game 5, SF, Leela SF. Great. So let's just do a new game and then paste PGN, import. Yes. Okay. So the great point about Queen c6, sorry, just have a quick check just to make sure it's just Stockfish thinking here. Yeah. So the great point about Queen c6 is that b3, which trying to get rid of this queenside structure, is no longer possible because we've got takes and queen takes c3. So that is actually from that point of view, it's a very nice move. I suppose the one problem about it is that knight e7, when that knight does come into e7, it'll hit the queen. So you're going to be pretty much forced to take that knight, and then we're going into these really typical positions that I was aiming for, where I've sacrificed my d pawn. But got the dark squared bishop, got plenty of weak dark squares in this structure, and also got d5 for the knight. So, I thought this was pretty dangerous for black. Obviously, this was done pre-engine, really, so 1996-7. So, I mean, this was human dangerous, but still, it seemed quite decent. So, Stockfish has played bishop g5, which is the definitely the best move here. And then g6 played, just forcing the knight away, and then we're not going to worry at all. We're just going to play the move knight e7, and after bishop e7, de. Yeah, so I mean the nice thing about this pawn on e7 is that it prevents the black king from castling. So yeah, I mean black basically really does have to do something about this pawn. Can't hey Jedi Patzer, no worries at all. It's very, very enjoyable, this TCEC. So do get into it. Check out the TCEC web site. Lots of huge information. Where I'm looking at mostly tcec-chess.com. That's really fantastic. So yeah, take a look at that, and obviously take a look at our stream as well. So yeah, I mean black's got to do something about this pawn. So you can either take it with the king, or you can take it with the queen, and that would be queen e6 takes e7, or queen c5 takes e7. Now taking with the king really feels very rough. I mean, I think you probably start off with f4, and you're threatening to play f takes c5, open up the f file. This is just way too much. So really, I think the move that I prepared was queen e6, but queen c5 is just as good. And now I suppose we've got a couple of ideas. We can play a move like king h1, just to have f4, or we can simply play a move like, well, we could play queen f3. This is another idea, just attacking the knight and really forcing black to take on e7. And then we've got a couple of ideas here. I mean, we could. I'm actually wondering whether wasn't this my analysis actually, going b3 here maybe, and the idea is after b4 I can go knight d5, and if takes I take back with the pawn, and I'm threatening d6 as well as takes on b3. So, and this pin is rather nasty. I mean, you can sort of get out of it with a move like queen d6, but then I go rook c1 and I've got rook c6 coming in. So it's really, yeah, I mean, this is really quite I find this quite unpleasant. I mean, another idea for white would be just to aim for the d file. So you just go queen d2, threatening rook d1, so probably queen e7, and then, yeah, I mean, at some stage we're just going to go, and again, I'm not 100% sure, it might be knight d5 immediately, or rook d1. We're just going to put a knight on d5 and then play for f4 at some stage. And again, black's under pressure all the time, yeah, I mean, Semi-Slav, especially against human players, I mean, Semi-Slav, black's always the one that's pressing, really, always playing aggressively with this big space advantage. And I just love the idea of having the d5 square for my knight, and black not having any dark squares, So let's have a look. What has happened here? So, yeah, as we saw, knight e7, bishop takes e7 has happened. So we'll get d takes e7, and now we're going to see what Leela and Stockfish can make of it. Wow. Well, you see, this is the you can see the difference, because back in 1996, I didn't know anything about AlphaZero and Rook's pawns, and well, you can see that Stockfish definitely knows. It's looking at going h4 and rook h5 to break the pin, which is an amazing idea, I have to say. And actually, Stockfish just wants to sacrifice the exchange afterwards. Wow, I mean, that's really deep. Leela's a lot more calm, not getting excited about things. So it's yeah, I mean, Leela is looking at playing queen d2. This is what Leela's looking at. This kind of line. I have to say, I do find this slightly on the worrying side for black. It certainly wouldn't be my choice if I had to play this as black, but yeah, I mean, well, might be okay. So, but very, very interesting. I mean, this is clearly something that Stockfish does not want to do. I mean, Stockfish is clearly thinking that that black should be taking some radical action against this bishop on g5. So yeah, interested to see what. But Leela's just yeah, sort of very calm here, and just wanting to pick up the pawn like that. So, all right, let's have a look. We'll have a look at Leela's idea, but Stockfish's idea is fantastic, of course. Queen c5, queen d2. Queen d2 isn't really my favourite move, I have to say. I mean, I've also got, yeah, king h1. I mentioned. I like king h1, I have to say, but maybe it's just human and not that good. I mean, the nice idea is that queen e7. Well, I mean, I could maybe go knight d5 immediately, and then afterwards go f4. This just feels, this feels like what you want to do, right? I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe I throw in d6 first, and then afterwards go f4 with the idea of f5. I mean, this does feel very much like it. I suppose, just trying to. Did I hear a move being played there? Queen c5 played by Leela. Whoa! Look at Stockfish go. Boom, boom, boom. My goodness me. By the way, I was thinking, I've got a terrible back at the moment, so I didn't sleep very well. But I was thinking that we've got so many known chatters that shouldn't everyone have their sort of signature tune when they come in? You know, like Mr. BDZZ comes in and it's Mr. BDZZ, Mr. B does, he's a Leela Leela Loo time, you know, something like that. Wouldn't that just be great? You know, rather than just having boom effects that as soon as you heard a certain music, you'd know that a certain chatter had entered the chat. I think that would be fantastic. But anyway, yeah. So Queen c5, Stockfish does not like this, which, to be honest, I mean, I don't know whether Stockfish is right, but I certainly understand that it doesn't like it, because the thing that it was looking at in this position is, you know, this was very rigorous. This was really Rook h5 and then taking on g5 very soon. This was really taking incredibly firm and direct action to resolve, you know, something that it thought was a big problem. So, you know, that's quite amazing, I have to say. But actually, yeah, I mean, b3, let's have a look at b3, because this is a pretty sharp idea. b3, okay, so b3 played, yes. So I suppose the first thing to look at is, why isn't takes and queen c3 working? Because this was, yeah, this was what we were saying before. That is a very good question. Wait a minute. C takes b3. Do we have anything in the middle there? I don't think so. It's got to be cb and queen c3. So what is what exactly is happening there? Why is this so good for white? I'm sort of wondering, right? Because queen d6 allows queen c6 here. And if I go rook c1, then queen d4. But I suppose the question is that... I mean, are we doing something like queen f3? Is this just something like this, or are we just going rook c7, and we've just got some massive initiative that's you know, maybe not too obvious, but somehow black's just getting a piece back straight away. Interesting. Bishop b3, queen c3. It's got to be. I mean, queen d6, queen c6 looks wrong, really. I mean, I could also, the other idea would be to take on f6, knight takes f6 and queen d6, but again we've got queen c6, which looks fine, or am I right in saying that, queen e5? Because queen e5 we've got queen e4, which rather ruins it. If you didn't have queen e4, this might be quite strong, but this doesn't look so great. So I'm guessing we're saying rook c1, queen d4. I think that's definitely the move. I mean, if you move the queen somewhere else, then I mean, if you go to I don't know, to b4 or something, I'll go, you know, rook c7. Well, I'm getting huge pressure then. And if you go to a5, then I'll go to d6. So queen d4. And now, what would be the best way of doing that? Rook c7? Maybe rook c7. Maybe this is just extremely strong. It's possible, but I'm not 100% well, yeah, as you can see, I'm not 100% sure about it. But I mean, if you go something like bishop c4, I go queen c1 probably, and rook d1. Could just be winning and awesome, you know, but I could just be missing something as well. So let's just have a little look at that. Yes, Jedi, the archive section, fantastic. You can download all the games there. It's a real treasure trove. Let's put Stockfish on there and tell us what you're thinking. Ah, yes, indeed. So takes, queen c3, rook c1, whoops, rook c1, queen d4, and rook c7. Oh, well, I got the line right. That's all right then. And yeah. I mean, basically, you're a piece down, but you're just, you know, Stockfish just thinks that you've got that the black pieces are never getting free there. I mean, actually, you've got to say there's some quite nice lines here. Look at this: Queen B6, Queen C2, Knight takes E4, Rook D1, Knight G5, Rook D7. Yeah, this is pretty impressive for white, isn't it? Board. Sorry, I'm getting carried away there. Rook D7. I got Stockfish running just to let everyone catch up, just to see why this C takes B3, Bishop B3, Queen C3 line was good, and it was indeed Rook C1, Rook C1, Queen D4 main line, and then Rook C7, Queen B6, and this was Stockfish's main line: Queen C2, Knight E4, Rook D1, and Rook D7, which is pretty terminal there. So yeah, I mean B3, it's a piece sacrifice, you know, and but of course, you know, the great point about B3 is that it's also the move that you want to play just to get rid of that queen side. So how is Leela going to defend this? Leela's now going to have to call on all of its defensive skill. And Leela is thinking for a long time here. 5 minutes already, 31 million nodes. 1.12 for Stockfish, 0.34 for Leela. So yeah, so well, let's have a look at the PVs, because they're quite interesting, these are. Yeah, let's have a look at Stockfish's. So they're both saying B3, Rook C8, so trying to keep it tight at the back, basically. Rook C1, so just now B takes C4 followed by Bishop B3 really will be a threat. Then B4, Knight A4, Queen E7, and yeah, I mean, in principle, I mean, this is quite nice, right? I mean, a Rook C8 has been played there. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you're managing to break open the queen side here, not bad at all. So yeah, I mean, what have we got here? We've got a couple of moves in the PVs. We've got B takes C4, which doesn't look bad either. I mean, you know, you're just yeah, you're just getting a pawn back, and yeah, 2 bishops, weak dark squares, a great square on D5, because I don't think black dares recapture this this pawn on C4. So I mean, this is looking quite. I quite like Leela's position. Stockfish is going for the more aggressive approach: Queen F3, C3, Knight B6, very nice, distracting. This was one of the typical tricks that was always in the position: Knight B6, Bishop F6, Rook C6 got to take with a king, and then we open up the queen side like this. Yeah, Rook C3. How is this position? Well, it's all right for black, but it's a bit unpleasant still, because yeah, I mean, the knight on F6 pinned to the pawn on F7. Yeah, the rook and the bishop are not placed a bit oddly. You know, it's maybe you can hold this. I mean, maybe you can hold this, but I don't like it. I mean, I wouldn't want to go into this position as black, really. So okay, so I think we can. Yeah, I mean, I think if you know, it's probably, of course, it's too early to draw conclusions, but I think that you can probably say that yeah, at the moment it looks like yeah, Stockfish is somehow navigating these sharper positions just a little bit better than Leela. But Leela is insta moving, so sign of confidence. So we're going to see, yeah, I mean, the next big divergence is going to be whether we take on C4 or whether we go Queen F3. So yeah, I mean, Stockfish thinking there's just going to end up a pawn up in some sort of ending. I quite like Leela's line, to be honest, though. So let's have a look at that. So switch the screen. And then we are going. So Rook C8, Rook C1, b4, knight a4, queen e7, and b takes c4. Now, I suppose this is Leela's main line. I suppose the main thing that we should look at first of all is rook c4. And this is an interesting question. What do we have? I mean, I would say that I would expect that the what we have, it's either well, there's actually, come to think of it, there's quite a few different possibilities here. There's queen f3, which can be quite dangerous. There's bishop b3, bishop d3 maybe, but that feels a bit weird. I think bishop b3 and queen f3 are really the main ones. I'm just wondering slightly about whether yeah, that won't work, will it? I don't think. No, I think those two. Let's have a look at bishop b3. That was the move I thought of first. So, I mean, rook d4 is sort of possible, but then I think I'll just go queen f3, and I'm going to get rook c7 in. This feels like feels just so loose. This, you know, that just something's going to drop off there, but not 100% sure about that. Let's have a look. If we go rook c1, that's the most natural move. Queen c1, and then castles. Short castles, as Victor Bologan always says. But then I think that queen c7 is just going to be awful, because after bishop e4, we've just got bishop f6 winning a piece. So, yeah, I mean, so if you can't castle... ouch, my back, sorry. If you can't castle, then I think you're going to be in a bit of trouble here, because, I mean, how are you going to stop queen c7? I mean, you could try something like king f8, because you're protecting the queen on e7, that's the idea. But I mean, stuff like queen c7 and then f4, for example, I think black's in huge trouble here, unless I'm missing some beautiful, you know, tactic or whatever. I mean, I think black's just lost in this position. So, so yeah, I mean, if you go bishop b3, I mean, it definitely has to be rook d4. And then, yeah, then we need to find something for white here. And, yeah, I don't know. I mean, queen f3, I mean, I'm frankly scared by this, as, you know, I've got threats of knight c5 and stuff like this. But I don't know. I mean, it's possible that, you know, engines that you'll just find a way to survive this, even though it looks really dangerous. I mean, it's possible. I mean, f4 even. Well, rook d2 then is not so good. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but this does look, you know, this does look very, very dangerous. But maybe it could be that queen f3 is even stronger here. What I want to do is, after castles, I want to go knight b6. And bishop takes here, which I'm assuming is going to be good for me. Yeah, I just wondered, do I have rook c2 in this position? To go rook c2, bishop e4? Not really. I just take and go bishop e7. So, yeah, I mean, I could do stuff like rook c3 maybe. Not 100% clear. Bishop d3. Got plenty of pins here. Not sure. Maybe bishop b3 is better. But should we have a quick look? We'll have a quick look what Stockfish thinks. Yeah, it thinks bishop b3. And after rook d4. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's the way. Rook c7 is what Stockfish wants. I should have seen that, you know. It's I had that theme in my analysis before, but takes rook d1, yeah, and we just we're threatening to take on b7. We've got a pin on here. We're going to end up with a couple of a rook and a couple of pieces, basically, for the queen. Yeah, this is the best line that Stockfish sees, but this is awful. Your king can't move. Two bishops. We're invading. I mean. +5 is incredible, but yeah, it does look incredibly good for white. So interesting. Okay, so what situation are we there? Queen f3 has been played by Stockfish. So yeah, Leela Leela is booming again, so going to 0.60. So it's kind of the opposite to what we had in the previous game, you know, where Leela started high, but then just decreased a little bit and then sort of, you know, stayed there and didn't. But this is sort of 0.4 and then 0.34 and then, you know, gradually getting worse. So, but okay, interesting. I think, you know what, we've now got quite a big PV agreement now. So it's yeah, it's going to be. I'm not sure it's lost though, but I think it's just going to be a very unpleasant position to hold. So yeah, I mean, we're going to see how that looks. Let's just have a look at the PVs and we'll lock them for now. So Queen F3, C3, Knight B6, trying to distract the Knight on D7 there. Sorry, Mr. Beaders. I do think the Flintstones theme tune would be perfect for you, though. Rook C6, Knight D7, King D7, A3, Bishop D3. Yeah, Leela manages to bring the king out there, and now yeah, a slight difference in PV, though I think it's coming to approximately the same in actual fact. Let's follow Leela's PV then. That's probably more important for the black side. H3, Rook D6, Rook E1, A5, Rook D3, takes, Rook A8, Queen G3. It's just sort of, I mean, the dark squares are so weak. I mean, actually, the threat here is Queen H6 takes G6. So Knight G8 happens. A3. Yeah. Bishop C3. F4. B4. I mean, obviously, this is going way too far, but I mean, it's just uncomfortable all the way for black, but not necessarily losing. So yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see. We're really going to see whether you know, whether Leela can. Yeah, Leela can hold a nasty position against Stockfish. I think that's. But in principle, it is the sort of nasty position that Leela could hold. I mean, it's just a question of you know, trying to escape to some sort of ending where you're a pawn down, but it's holdable. So yeah, you know, it's could be interesting. I mean, I must say I did quite like Leela's B takes C4, to be honest, but this is kind of the safe way for White, I think. You know, just constant pressure, two bishops, dark squares to aim at, and then yeah. And I think the big challenge for Leela will be avoiding some sort of unpleasant tactic, you know, that that comes out of nowhere. I think that'll be the big challenge there. So I mean, it's quite. In a way, it's sort of a little bit shocking that that after Queen F3, Knight B6, no, sorry, where am I? Here. After Queen F3, Knight A4, Queen E7. What's happening here? B4, Knight of Queen E7, Queen F3, C3, Knight B6, Rook C6. That yeah, that Knight D5 isn't actually just winning on the spot. You would really have thought that something like this would be good, but Knight D5 we can just play a move like Queen D6, and then after Rook D1 we just go Knight takes D5, and I think we're sort of holding it all together. It still looks quite dangerous to me, I have to say. But obviously this I mean, this move from Stockfish is much simpler. You know, just to take on here. King takes D7 and then just undermine the queen side, and yeah, I mean, this is a very fine defensive plan, you've got to say. You know, just running with the king doesn't matter. You're going to give away your extra material, but you know, you are just in that way getting the position a little bit more stabilized. Have a quick look to see. I thought I heard a move. Knight B6 played, and just unlock the PVs, and we'll just see what whether we're still, yeah, I mean, we're getting a pretty big agreement. I mean, I think, you know, basically something like this position, you know, this is definitely definitely going to happen, and then it's a question of oh, I love that quote, 282 and 290. They really are fantastic, those two quotes. It's so we're going to have a look at this PV position, because I think we're going to get it, and we'll just try and work out where all the danger is. So what was it? It was A5, H3 and Queen B6. So, okay, so let's have a look at advantages, disadvantages. Well, first of all, looking at it from the black point of view, I mean, you've sort of stabilized the position. I mean, the pawn structure is sort of symmetrical, you know, just pawn A5 against B3 on the queen side. So, you know, obviously there you do feel that, you know, there are some chances for the draw that that come out of that. If you can exchange the A pawn for the B pawn, then, you know, 4 and 4 symmetrical on one side. Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you make a draw there? I mean, also black's managed to get its king safe finally. You know, it's on G7. Yeah, and you know, I mean, just needs to develop some its rook on H8, and black will be completely developed. But I mean, if you're looking at white, then what has white got? Well, the two bishops first of all, and really a lot of dark squared weaknesses. I mean, you know, F6, H6, E5. I mean, if we could target a pawn on E5 with a bishop on B2, you know, that could get very dangerous. I mean, this diagonal here is you know, really very very unpleasant. I think, you know, redeploying this bishop round to B2, I could imagine you know, Stockfish going ahead and doing that. I mean, there's also this general awkwardness in the black pieces. We've got this pressure against F7. The rooks had to defend the knight laterally, which means that it's blocking the line of the bishop on B7. You know, so you know, that's just that's not, you know, awful, terrible losing, but it is rather rather unpleasant. And, you know, those sort of awkwardnesses in your position, those are always the things that allow tactical opportunities, you know, from the opponent. So just have a quick look again. Did something happen? I think I heard something. Yeah, we're going down this line now. So okay. So what is White's? What are White's plans? Well, I've already mentioned bishop C1 to B2. That's definitely one plan. I mean, also bishop C1 and then trying to get the queen E3 into H6 would be also very attractive. Another big idea simply for White straight away would be to play rook D1 into D7. I mean, if you just imagine, oh, I don't know, just a random move, rook C8, we can play rook D7, and then after knight D7 we go queen F7 check, and it's curtains for black. So that's going to be another threat. So I think that's why when you see the rook coming, you know, you see a rook coming to the D file, I think black's always going to try and challenge it. So yeah, I mean, maybe an obvious first try for White would be to play, let's say rook D3. Not sure whether I want to play that rook. Okay, let's say rook D3, looking for rook D7. We get rook D8. And then rook D1. I mean, let's have a look at that one. Takes and takes. So still threatening rook D7 in this position. Now, I mean, the question is, you know, what can we do? Can we do stuff like rook D6 and just block out the rook? Because the nice thing about this is that when you unblock the rook, the bishop's attacking E4. So, you know, that also gives some extra possibilities there. Do we have anything interesting or exciting here? Well, no, not 100%, I don't think. So it could well be, maybe what we should would be more interesting would be would be taking on here like this, new main line, queen b6, rook d1. Just want to see whether this works or not. Rook d6. I mean, there's all sorts of, you have all sorts of feelings about you take on f6 and distract stuff. Yeah, I mean, this does actually work, right? We go bishop takes f6. If rook f6, I've got rook d8. And if queen f6, I've got rook takes d6 here. And queen d6 allows queen f7. So that's probably quite a decent way of doing it. We go rook to d1, and then black has to find a spot for its queen. Not quite sure where that queen wants to go. It's definitely got to cover d7, because queen b6, rook d7 will not be pleasant at all. So you should probably go to c7 or e7. C7 feels like the move you'd rather play, just not to be in a pin. But yeah, I don't know whether it might not be tactically sound. That's always possible. Yeah, now we've got to come up with the next little plan for white. I mean, bishop c1 is possible. I want to go queen e3. And then queen to h6, that's what I want to do. And then I could play queen takes, and then this pawn will be hanging if the king goes back to g8. That's one idea. What else could I do? Yeah, I'm wondering about trying to make something like queen e3 work. You know, just so if you go rook d6, I go bishop h6 check, and if you come over to here, then I take on f7, which feels dangerous, maybe. I'm also thinking, actually, that I might well prefer to play rook d1, rook d8, and get this position, but with my rook on d3. The reason for that is that I'm not going to get interrupted with rook d1 checks. If black takes the rook, it's going to be on here without check, which might just give me a tempo. So queen c7, what was I looking at? Oh yeah, queen e3, this was why I was thinking about it. Rook d6, I could go bishop h6 check. And then if you go king h7, I've got bishop f8 to meet rook d3 with queen h6 and queen g7. So would a move like queen e3 be dangerous at all? Well, definitely dangerous. I suppose, you know, what you're looking for with black, you know, you think, well, can I play a4 here? Which is definitely a possibility. I go bishop h6. I've got to be careful, because I think here really is very dangerous for black. Maybe you can cover with knight g8, but I don't know. I don't like this at all, I have to say. But if you go king g8, then I can just go queen g5 and threaten queen takes g6 here because of the pin. So yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, this could be something like this could be quite an unpleasant little plan. I think, just to get some pressure like this. I think it just shows, you know, I think it just shows really that black's position might not look too bad, but there's quite a bit of tactical danger in there, you know. So let's have a look. But you know, it must be said the PVs, rather the evaluations, aren't really increasing. So you know, I think that both engines feel that that Leela's, you know, got to sort of stabilize the situation to a rather tricky position. And yeah, you know, this is yeah, this is not clear whether this can be winning. We're gonna be very interesting, this one. I think it's this is not, though, the type of position where one side is going to shuffle much. So that's quite good from that point of view, because I think Stockfish needs to you know, get a move on basically with everything. Well, actually, it's quite interesting here, because looking at the PVs, Stockfish is doing this rook d1 and making sure that its rook is on d3, and after queen c7, it's looking at queen d1, which is quite interesting, instead of my queen e3. So that is quite interesting. Yeah, and Leela's, well, looking at rook d3, which I think is less good, but Leela's looking to play bishop a6. So maybe we should have a quick look at that and see whether whether that's still legal. That seems too risky to me. If I go rook d1 and you go bishop a6, I would be amazed if I wasn't losing something as black. That that amazed, by the way, that was an incredible impression of a colleague and wonderful chap, Julian Hodgson, who not a professional player anymore, but I mean, one of the most talented players England ever produced. But he had a fantastic personality, incredibly infectious personality, and yeah, I mean, he really the way he played chess as well, you know, very intuitive, incredible attacker. It's yeah, I mean, a really lovely guy. So why am I thinking about him? Why could this be? Who knows? Maybe we'll see later in the Sufi. You never know. So I'm waffling on really because I'm not seeing a way to win something, which astounds me, I have to say. All of this stuff on the third rank, and I'm not finding a way to win anything. I mean, bishop d5 does not look bad, in all fairness. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, sometimes you just have this sense in your head that if there's pieces captured, third rank, and something, you know, another rank another file you can use to enter, there should be something tactically, but I can't see it. It just all seems to hang together. Whichever piece you take first, it seems to be fine, but maybe something like bishop d5 is quite good. Rook c3, queen c3. And then it all depends, I suppose, whether, well, I mean, knight d5, rook d5. It's opposite colour bishops, I know, but this looks really dangerous, right? We're coming into d7. We're taking on e5. I would wager that this opposite coloured bishop position is quite good, and otherwise, it's maybe a little tricky to defend everything. I mean, rook e8. I go rook e8. Could I go bishop c6 or something? I want to go here, rook d6, basically. That's the idea. But you could just go rook e6, maybe. Not clear, not clear. Always got to be careful, right, with this, because if I do something like bishop a4, there's queen f2 and then knight e4 checks. So I've always got to watch out for these little tricks. Not easy. Bishop a6. Just have a quick look. Now we're still heading towards this sort of line. Bishop a6. Would this be possible? What else can we do? I mean, I can take lots of stuff on the c file, but that's not really proving to be very good. The key point about this is that yeah, I mean, rook d7 is met by bishop c4, and you just destroy this pressure against f7. I mean, bishop f7 is the move that you really feel, you know, this would be the move that wins, basically, you know, but I think it doesn't for a multitude of reasons. For example, rook c3, queen c3. I mean, even king f7 maybe looks good, but you could also have this queen f2. Could you have queen f2? No, that might not be correct. But I think just king f7 is just simply going to be very good. Queen e5. It doesn't really. I don't think I've got anything. It's a shame. I feel like I should have something, but well, I don't know. Queen f4. Is this a sort of position where we find just huge compensation for the piece? I'm not sure. Rook e4, rook d7 check, king e8. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this at all. It doesn't feel like I've got it, to be honest. Though I'd be very happy to be corrected about it. But if bishop a6 is a good move, then that would actually be very useful for Leela. King f8 being played. Ah, okay, well, yeah, okay. Funnily enough, Leela switched to rook d1, but it's not aiming to play bishop a6, it's aiming to play rook d8. So let's just put Stockfish on it. Ah, it just thinks bishop d5. Okay, it really thought this was, yeah, I mean, we thought this was the best move too. It's giving, oh, of course. Yeah. So you just, sometimes you're too busy attacking and you don't just think of, you know, it's what I said yesterday. Tal, you know, he always either attacked stuff or took stuff. And yeah, I've just forgotten the golden rule of taking stuff, basically. Bishop f6, if king f6, we've got queen f3, check takes f7. And if queen f6, then we've got queen takes a5, which is, you know, just an extra pawn. And this bishop's not a great piece. It's really dominated by this one. So, yeah, that would be very good. Okay. So cool. So rook d8 now is what we are looking at, and then rook takes, rook d3, queen c7. I think was our variation. I'm just checking. I'll switch back to the board after. What have we got? Rook d3, queen c7. That's the PV. Oh yeah, Leela looking to avoid the exchange of rooks in that line, but okay. And then Stockfish is queen d1 still. This is the move that it wants to play. Okay, let's have a little look at this then. So yeah, I mean, queen e3 was my move actually, which I'm still. I understand Stockfish doesn't like it or doesn't want to play it, but I do like it, you know. Bishop h6 is a huge threat. What on earth could Black play in this position? I suppose what might happen is would maybe bishop a6 happen anyway. So the idea is bishop h6 check. I will go king g8 because if I do my queen g5, then you destroy c4, and that's yeah, that's probably enough, I guess. Still, yeah, still looks a little bit uncomfortable, but no, it's probably enough. So bishop a6, is this the move that's going to save Black? Looks like a very important resource. I think, you know, that's why Black played a5, you know, to play a5, a4, but also to exchange off the bishop this way. And I'm not sure anymore how to get in there. I mean, I do like the idea of having bishop h6, and Black can't go here, I don't think, because of here. So Black has to go king to g8, and then you wonder, you know, could I do something like get onto the sorry, I missed the chat for a while there. Another one bites the dust. Ah, fantastic. Under pressure. Yeah, another good jingle. So yeah, sorry, Viren. I think I hopefully we'll get the screen. Oh, we'll get the screen. I've done the screen wrong again. Ah, Queen e3. It's such a beautiful system, this, and I just keep on messing it up. So yeah, I mean, you'd be wondering whether I could still just try and invade along the d file here, and well, why not actually? Why wouldn't I be able to play queen d2 here? Bishop c4, rook d8, king there, bishop f8. You're going to go knight g8, aren't you? That's the problem. Still. I'm still not feeling too reassured. I mean, I'm threatening rook d7 here. All right, we're going to test my genius by putting Stockfish on, and then see what it thinks. So queen e3. Stockfish is saying bishop a6. I'm saying bishop h6, king g8, and I'm saying queen d2. You're joking, really? Rook d8 check, king h7. And Stockfish says black is winning. Curses. Just knight takes e4 then. So you can't line up on the d file there. Okay, so not quite as dangerous as you think there. So but yeah, so what is Stockfish's PV then? It's going Queen D1, Bishop A6, takes, F3 I thought. Wasn't that what I saw? Stockfish, let's get Stockfish's latest PV. F3, Queen C6. I'll just play the moves out. Queen D2. Oh, now we are probably threatening Bishop C6. Threatening there. Knight E8, Rook D5, A4. Are we going to just pick up a pawn like this? B takes A4, Queen takes A4, King H2, Queen C6, Rook E5, Queen D6. Ah, this is what Stockfish is thinking about. And Rook and Bishop versus Rook and Knight, extra pawn. Right coloured bishop for the rook's pawn. I'd expect this to be probably. I'd expect this to be drawn. I would expect this to be drawn, to be honest. I think this would be Leela doing its Houdini act and escaping to a worse ending. I think this would be. This is basically it. Because I don't think that this is a winning endgame. I think with the knight you can always blockade properly. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I do think that it's just always hard with a bishop on square of one color, you know, just to create weaknesses in the black position, you know, just a knight in the rook and knight versus rook and knight, rook knight 4 versus rook knight 3 is probably, I think, easier to create a lot of pressure than this. So it could be that that Leela's going to escape here. I think Leela's sort of managing to navigate to something that's not too bad, that's maybe sort of holdable. So yeah, going to be interesting. Going to be interesting to see whether Stockfish refines its PV. We see Stockfish is down at 103 now, so it's just dropping a little bit. In all fairness, you know, I do think that instead of Queen F3, just in this position, that B takes C4, you know, as Leela was recommending, was a pretty decent way of playing. Just actually interested just to see actually what was Stockfish's thought about this position. B3, Queen F3, B takes C4. What was Stockfish's evaluation there? Yeah, +1. I mean, it's not much worse really, you know. And yeah, I don't know. I would have probably would have appealed to me a little bit more than this line, I think. But yeah, still, I mean, this line is a clear and definite advantage. It's just that it might not be enough for a win. I mean, that's just could just be one of those things. So yeah, and I mean both engines are you know, looking at this plan of playing Bishop A6. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be I think this is going to be a tough one for Stockfish to convert. I think it's looking like the better of a draw Of course, if we had armability, or this is going to count, isn't it? Although I'm never quite clear about it. I mean, if you have an ending a pawn up, is your armability better, or is is that nothing to do with it? Is it nothing to do with material? That's it's going to be a moral victory for Stockfish, this one, I guess. It's which always used to be Leela's particular brand area of expertise, but I think that Stockfish is going to have to claim a moral victory here, because I don't think that it's going to be able to convert this one. It's really yeah, it's really I mean, it's just hanging together by a thread, this, you know, just an extra tempo for white somewhere, and it's just a win. But I don't see how Stockfish is going to do it. These lines are really sort of converging, and basically Leela's going to exchange off the A for the B pawn, swap off the bishops, and donate the E5 pawn to Stockfish, and then hopefully get the queens off as well, and then play this rook and knight and 3 against rook, bishop, and 4. And yeah, I mean, I don't think that you should be able to make anything of this as white. You can always try, of course, but the knight should be fine for keeping you at bay. Interesting. Ah, so it might not end up being a decisive pair, this one, but well, you know, I mean, as long as you know, one side has come close-ish, then I guess that's kind of good. You don't want every single game pair to be decisive. It's but yeah, I mean, I'm sure that I mean, obviously I didn't have this specific position in my analysis, but this was the, you know, these were the type of positions that I was always looking for when I put this together. You know, just weak dark squares, pressure, and I thought it'd be difficult for a human to defend. But okay, the pawn will always increase R-mob unless it is securely blocked. So pawn up should be an R-mob win in most cases. Okay, that's how it works. Yeah, of course. That's yeah, I mean, I've got to say, I've got lots of moral wins I'd like to claim from my own games. If you could do that post, not posthumously, but you know what I mean, then that would be amazing. Just have to forget all the draws I've held material down. So Stockfish, what are you going to do? I mean, how deep is Stockfish looking at the moment? 5.4 billion nodes and 556,000 table base hits. So yeah, it's looking pretty deep, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's just it just seems to be looking at the same stuff all the time. I mean, I guess that Leela will go for this because so I mean, what Leela's expecting after rook d1, rook d8 is rook e1. You know, that's what Leela wants, which, to be honest, then makes it a little bit odd, because yeah, why would you force the rook to d8 and then go to e1? You might as well play rook e1 immediately, I suppose. But rook d1, rook d8, takes rook d3, queen c7. I mean, I'm pretty sure that that Leela will do all this, because it just fits in perfectly with the plan that Leela's playing everywhere else, which is to go bishop a6. I mean, just think, I mean, could there be any other plan here for white? I mean, I suppose, you know, the big problem in a way for well, I was going to say that, you know, the problem for white is that you know, if you play a move like rook a1, then maybe, you know, black's going to go rook d6 and open up the line of the bishop on the pawn on e4. But I'm not 100% sure how good that is, because, you know, Just say some random move. Bishop e4 always allows bishop f6 followed by queen e4, and knight e4 allows queen f7. So doesn't really aid very much. I mean, what you'd really need in all of this is just a really great way of stopping black from playing bishop a6, but that just seems really difficult. Stockfish getting me excited for a moment because it's looking at bishop e3, but it's just looking for the repetition with bishop e3, queen d8, bishop g5, queen b6, and then carrying on with its normal plan. So that was a bit of false excitement. Yeah, I'm wondering whether I could, target the a pawn or target the e5 pawn from black and get in f3. Move black's pieces around a little bit, but it's just really difficult. It really is difficult. I don't see how we can do this. I find it a little bit surprising as well, to be honest. I really would have expected that there'd be a bit more in this position. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether you could try and mess with the black queen, and go bishop e3, queen there, rook d1. Queen c7. Let's just keep on doing what we did before. But what have I gained? I'm still getting hit by bishop a6 there, really. So it's. Well, no, actually, come to think of it, I mean, here I could go rook d3, because bishop a6, I've got rook d7. So does this work? Yeah, I mean, if I go bishop e3, I'm kind of messing around with the queen, and I'm trying to get on the d file. He's gone bishop e3. But what he's talking about, he doesn't want to go back to d8, of course. He wants to go back to c7. Yeah, and then you go bishop g5, and I mean that's stopping bishop a6 because we could just take on f6 first, check, rook f6, and bishop a6. Is this really true? It's not quite as clear as all that, because I could go queen b6 and I'm being attacked. I suppose I could at the very least do this with a sound extra pawn. Yeah, bishop g5, okay, but then you go queen b6, and so I mean, really, if you want to do something something different, it would have to be here. But yeah, bishop a6 is kind of happening here. And again, I don't see how we can do anything there. I would so want this to work. I mean, the interesting thing is that, I could go something like rook c1, because if you go bishop a6, I could go, for example, I mean, I don't know whether this is right, but bishop e6. Well, maybe I should go bishop a6 simply. Let's do that, because after rook c3, queen c3, I've got bishop h6 check. So I mean, that would actually be a possible way of stopping black from going bishop a6. The question is whether, if black goes something like rook c8, do I have anything? Am I gaining anything by doing this? And I don't know. I don't really know how I'm increasing the pressure or whatever. Something like bishop g5. Maybe we just go queen b6 again and just prepare bishop a6 nice and slowly. Again, it's looks very nice really does look nice for white, but hard to find any sort of way of getting through here. Yeah, I'm not sure about this ending, test 0. I do think it's drawn. I think the knight is going to be too strong, but yeah, we'll definitely expect Stockfish to give it a go. That is definitely true, and it's the right color bishop for the rook's pawn. So yeah, I mean that will definitely give some encouragement there. But I mean, yeah, I think that this is a very typical Leela defense, really. Sort of exchanging off to an ending that turns out to be a fortress, and yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. Yeah. So Leela just looking. Yeah, I mean Leela's PV looks a little bit more human natural now. It's Queen C7, Bishop G5. Wait a minute. It's saying just Rook E1 to defend the E pawn, and then it's saying Rook HC8. And now it's teeing up for A4 or Bishop A6. Yeah, I mean Rook E1 covers E4, so we could go Queen G3. I'm gonna switch the board. Sorry. F4. So we could go Queen G3. And this is the line that Leela's looking at, and then it's going to play very sharply. It's not going to try and protect this pawn. It's going to play Bishop A6. And after Queen E5, takes. Rook to D1, looking to play Rook D6. Leela's going to play Queen E6. And yeah, I mean, again, if you can't exploit this pin on f6, then this is just going to end up being a draw simply. I guess that white will win the a pawn in that case as well. That wouldn't amaze me. What is Leela saying actually in its PV for this position? Queen E6 FE, let's just lock that so we don't get any moves. H4, Rook D8. Well, this is all a little bit not very exciting. No, I don't think Leela's really making much progress in its PV. Yeah, no, I mean Leela's PV is definitely drawn, and Stockfish's PV is probably drawn. So who's thinking a lot? It's Leela. Just goes to show. I mean, these giving Leela the chance of giving a sort of a repetition thing. This really makes Leela burn up time, doesn't it? I mean, Bishop E3, Queen C7, Bishop G5, Queen B6 is going to happen, and Leela will have probably wasted something like 10 or 11 minutes on that. Yeah, interesting. Is that conscious, you wonder? I'm just, give me 2 minutes, I'm just going to get a drink because it's terribly hot out here. Oh. Right. Refreshments. And Leela is still thinking. My goodness me. Woo. When I'm looking at chess, I just sort of run on Coca-Cola. Ah, dear me. Okay. Oh dear, right. Where are we? What is happening? So still thinking about Queen 7, and this is really quite sneaky from Stockfish. I mean, it's really costing Leela lots and lots of time for something that's just going to transpose in the end to the main line. I mean, we're just going to go Queen C7, Bishop G5, Queen B6, and then carry on. So, but look at Leela, 144 million nodes, 204.4 kilonodes per second. I thought that was, I didn't think that was possible from Leela. Maybe that's is that to do with caching? That when the kilonodes are so high, yeah, I mean, at the moment, you look at that speed, you just see Leela, wind in her hair, having a whale of a time, defending a slightly worse position. Has Leela's PV changed at all, or is it just more of the same? Yeah, I mean, it's more of the same descending, but descending is just nothing at all for White. So yeah, I wouldn't have thought that Stockfish would go for it. I think what Stockfish is intending, which is this, is a much better chance of a win there, really. So okay, Queen C7. So we're not expecting anything really remarkable now from either engine. I think it's going to we are just going to get our endgame position, and then Stockfish is going to grind for a while. Yeah, I mean, I think it's shaping up to be a good Sufi. I really think it is. If you look at both engines, then we've got Leela doing some very good positional stuff in this reversed delayed Benoni in the third game. And yeah, I mean that was pretty impressive, because it wasn't a clear position. I mean, it's better for White, those openings, but I mean it's played a lot by human players, and very complex, and it played that exceptionally well. And then defended the fourth game very well indeed. Stockfish, yeah, in both sharp openings, the Open Sicilian and then this one as black, has played superbly. Actually, really sacrificed the exchange both times, and really demonstrated some excellent active defensive technique. But then I think we're going to see Leela in this game as well. Yeah, I mean, not maybe not making the most of its active chances, but bringing the game back into a sort of thing that it can defend quite well, which is it's going to hobble into an endgame, a pawn down that it should hold, and yeah, so it's great. I mean, nice contrast in styles. The engines seem to do different things, better. So yeah, I mean, could really be a great Sufi, because yeah, I mean, the more obviously the more individual the choices are of both Leela and Stockfish, the better time we'll all have. And so far, looking at it, just on the two sharp openings that we've had, so Open Sicilian and then this one, the choices have been quite different. Leela's 12b4 in the first game, and in the second game rather. Okay, not so successful, but still, different. And then this Queen c6 here instead of Stockfish's Queen b6. So Stockfish rather undoing the value of a quick repetition by spending 3 minutes thinking about it, but I'll just have a look. Actually, just bear with me for a moment. I'm going to have a little look to see, 'cause I'm pretty sure I had some games in this. So, and we'll see, just see whether we got anything similar to season 21, Semi-Slav Meran. Yeah, quite interesting actually. Just having a look at some of the test games I played just on my hardware. So let's have a look at that whilst we're waiting for Stockfish and Leela. So yeah, so knight f5 h5. So I played a match between Stockfish and Stockfish. Now I'm going to mention the Stockfish version because it's quite interesting. It's the version from 25th of April 2021. I've called it extensions, so presumably that was part of the it has something to do with extensions. But the interesting thing is that in this position after h5, Stockfish didn't play d6, it played bishop d2, bizarrely enough. And after g6, knight e3, rook c8, knight e2, Yeah, it sort of played. Got A5, B3, C takes B3, A takes B3, B4, and it eventually beat Stockfish in a long game there. Doesn't look that amazing, but it's a decent plan. So a much quieter plan than it chose in the Sufi. And actually, it was the same plan that Stockfish chose when it was white. It didn't manage to beat Stockfish, but yeah, I mean, it was a pretty even game throughout. But yeah, so I mean, this plan, I've seen this plan then Bishop D2 instead of D6 from Stockfish before. Let's have a look at some more games. I had a couple of long games between Stockfish and Dragon. And this was the Stockfish from 24th of March 2021. And yeah, actually this is quite amusing. It was quite similar to this game. So we got D6, went Queen B6. This time, yeah, Bishop B3, Queen D8. Actually, this was Leela's PV originally. This was the one that Leela was saying all the time. Knight E7, and then takes Queen E7, B takes C4, Rook C8, Knight D5. Bishop D5, C takes D5, which was a slight edge for white, basically. You know, I mean, and this was Stockfish from 24th of March 2021 against Dragon, Dragon 1, not Dragon 2. So the first release of Dragon, and yeah, Stockfish managed to win this one. I mean, this is a nice advantage for white. You know, two bishops. Protected passed pawn on the d file, and those queenside pawns can become a target. Weak dark squares as well. So this was quite pleasant. When we see what happened in the reverse, when you see what happened in the reverse, actually that's quite hilarious, because that's more or less what happened in the in this actual in Leela Stockfish. So in the game Komodo Dragon against Stockfish on my hardware, we got very similar game to Leela Stockfish in game 5. So so that's quite interesting. It's quite funny, you know, quite intrigued to see, you know, what the difference is somehow, you know, between different versions of Stockfish and different yeah, different hardware. I mean, obviously, you know, TCEC, it's you know, it's way more powerful hardware than mine. So it is quite. I mean, that is really, you know, quite interesting. It's just I did some test matches quite a long time ago. This was against Leela against Stockfish 13. So actually the official release version of Stockfish. So not even a dev version, and this was quite interesting too. So we got D6, Queen B6. Sorry, just bring up the game properly. Bishop B3, Queen D8, Bishop G5 was played by Leela, so not B3, Bishop G5, and after G6 it played Knight E3, which was quite an interesting move there, really. And after Queen B8 we got A4, Bishop D6, AB, AB, Knight B5, which was a slight edge for white, but nothing amazing. So that was on my hardware, Leela against Stockfish 13. The game was drawn. And then if we look at what happened in other in another game. I had Stockfish against Leela, and actually we got a position that's quite similar to what we got in the TCC. I mean, again, slightly different. You know, not quite the same, but similar sort of position. So d6, Leela went queen b6 there, bishop b3, queen d8. So not queen c6 as in the Sufi, and then b3, g6, knight e7, takes, queen e7, and bishop g5 now. And yeah, I mean, just one of these positions, you know, just which was again a nice sharp fight as well. I mean, white definitely for choice in this position. So, but yeah, this was a very old version of Stockfish, and yeah, probably I must have updated my Leela nets, you know, 5 or 6 times whilst testing these. I mean, I was always trying to play as many test games as possible with, you know, as many different versions as possible, because you really do see you know, a difference at times, sometimes quite significant in lines chosen. Of course, you know, that could just be, you know, that you come across the one time in 10 that it doesn't play a certain move. You know, I mean, that's possible too. But yeah, quite interesting. So yeah, we've sort of been in the ballpark of well, I mean, you know, the position always remains the same. So but you know, the scenarios that we got in the Sufi, they've yeah, sort of seen before in practice games, but never quite exactly how yeah, how I was expecting it to happen. I do have to say that maybe the most fun and impressive part of it was Stockfish's idea here that after here we should play h4, and after h3 go rook h5 to challenge the bishop on g5. I think that was a really fantastic idea, you know, and I think probably yeah, a better fighting alternative than what Leela played, but looks like Leela is going to hold it regardless. So, oh, wait a minute, queen g3 has been played. No rook d1, just queen g3. Okay, so threatening queen takes c5, of course, so Leela's going to have to defend that pawn. And then rook e1. Yeah, I mean, this is probably a much more accurate way of playing, I suppose, because if we look back to what Leela was considering, Leela was thinking of... Where are my variations? Leela was expecting rook e1, but then it was playing this rook hc8, queen g3, bishop a6. You know, hitting back, ignoring the pawn on e5 and hitting the bishop on c4. Whereas here with Stockfish playing queen g3, let me just promote this line. Promote. And then get back. Then you can't ignore this because yeah, white hasn't wasted a tempo on rook e1. So rook e8 will have to be played. And now white will go rook e1, and well, we've got, you know, the rook on e8 is more passive than on c8. So this is a decent attempt to keep some sort of edge. Let's have a look at the PVs, see what's happening here. What is Stockfish expecting? So queen f3, oh, bishop a6, rook ec1, takes. So it's going to allow the exchange of rooks, but it's then what it's got, yeah, bishop versus knight, but yeah, this isn't gonna beat Leela, you know. I mean, this is really not going to beat Leela. This, it's just all way too solid. Yeah, I mean, this is just a draw. And And then if we look at Leela's PV, rook e8, rook c7, and bishop a6. It's still just trying this this idea of moving forwards like this. It's a bit more risky, this PV from Leela, I have to say, but still looks perfectly good to me. Black will manage to draw this quite comfortably, I think. So yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean, in both cases, I think you know, it's looking like for white and black, they've got it all under control. You know, I think that's definitely true. So yeah, I mean, basically, if we're guessing, then we're sort of expecting a draw here, but a little bit more pressure on Leela. But again, I think it's the sort of pressure that Leela can hold without too many difficulties. So expecting a draw. So we're going to see. Then the next book will be Jeroen's. So we're going to see how that goes. Trying to remember what it was. I can't remember what it was now. So that'll be a nice surprise. It's yeah, really interesting, this line. I thought it would probably, you know, be more winning chances for white, I thought, than it's turned out to be. I mean, black's been under pressure, but yeah, I mean, it's been manageable, you know, for these monsters. So yeah, that's quite interesting. I think, yeah, against a human opponent, I would have expected very nice results. I think. Yeah, looking at the time, I mean, really, these engines are playing really fast. You know, 50 minutes still left, and you've been in the middle of a incredibly complex middle game. You know, it's really quite amazing. But Leela thinking a lot at the moment. It's true, isn't it? We had a very long think a couple of moves ago. And yeah, I mean, we're having a 10-minute think now as well. So yeah, I guess quite important. Yeah, I'm wondering what Stockfish would really need, you know, to get a win in this one. I'm sort of thinking more a blunder really than anything else, because I find it hard to believe that Leela would make, you know, a series of bad moves that would allow this that would turn this into into a win. I mean, I think it's really I think it's really really unlikely that Leela's going to do that. So I think really what you're I think that more or less the only way I think that Stockfish would win this is if we get a Leela blunder somehow. You know, if Leela misses a tactic, or a sudden switch over of a rook to the king side, or an f4 break, you know, that sort of thing. I think that's the only way. But I wouldn't really expect it. I think this sort of position is one that Leela's normally got under control. Rook e8, okay. Rook e1, and then yeah, this move rook c7 from Leela feels a little bit loose, actually. The move that it's looking at in its PV. Let's have a look at Leela's PV. Yeah, this move rook c7. I don't know why, but yeah. Well, rook on c7, just protected by the queen, and the knight on f6 is only protected by the queen as well. Well, protected by the king as well, but it wouldn't move up. So It just feels a little bit loose somehow. But I mean, the point of rook c7 is that it uncovers the attack of the knight on the e4 pawn. So thanks very much, Ariton and Harish. Thanks very much. But yeah, how on earth could you try and exploit it? I mean, Queen g3, rook e1, rook c7. I mean, this would be the move you'd really want to play. Knight takes e4. Then you'd want to do, this is, you know, kind of the thing you'd want to do. Bishop f6, rook f6. I'm not even sure you've got a threat, really. That's the, I mean, it sort of looks great, but if you go queen d4, I'm not completely convinced. Quite apart from the fact that maybe even queen takes f6 would be possible. No, we'd have queen h4 check. That's not possible. Queen h4 check would probably, well, you can play king f5, but I'm not really going much further in that one. That's, but I think probably you can just ignore it, just go queen d4, and you probably haven't got any big threats there. Yeah, bishop on e4 covers g6 nicely, you know. So yeah, that doesn't look like anything. Oh, their Stockfish is looking a little bit keen after rook c7, isn't it? It's looking a little bit more interested. I mean, I do think it feels like a bit of a loose move, but okay, that's. We're heading for some tactics here, aren't we? Let's have a look. Sorry, I'm moving around a bit. Just kind of uncomfortable with my back. Ouch. So. Queen h4. Concrete threat there? Not sure really, but rook f3. I mean, we're protecting the pawn on e4, so rook f3 is coming in, you know. So what Leela was suggesting here was knight h7. It's just these two moves, rook c7, knight c7. I just have they don't give me a very happy feeling, you know. I don't feel like my pieces are really going on squares that I really want them to be on. You know, it doesn't have to mean anything, but so bishop d8 is the really sneaky thing, pinning the rook to the queen. The black escapes with queen b4, attacking the rook on c3. Yeah, I mean, I guess we really have to. I think we're looking at taking this rook now, because I don't know. I think if you just move the rook away, we just move a rook to d7, and the bishop's got nowhere great to go. So let's take the rook. Queen takes c3. I'm not sure. I'm a little nervous here, I have to say. I feel I've lost my second-rank defense, and now my pawn's being attacked by the bishop. If I go rook e3, that feels natural. Queen c1 check, king h2. I mean, is it something like this? Are we going to launch some sort of counterattack and queen r8 pawn? I mean, that's always a possibility. Oh, excuse me, I think I need to get the door there. One moment. Ah. Sorry about that. It's parcel heaven today, so just getting non-stop deliveries from Amazon there. Okay, so A4. Yeah. Can I go Queen G3? Threatening the pawn on E5, and if F6, I'll go Rook E3, then take on A4 afterwards. I don't know. This feels a bit risky, doesn't it? What is? Oops, good lord. Sorry. What is Stockfish? What is Stockfish looking at here? Queen H4. Oh, it's just looking at Bishop E3. It's lost all its interest in Bishop D8. Felt quite decent to me, but yeah, I don't know. Just yeah, just felt like something that I wouldn't particularly want to give black, you know. If but I could obviously just be completely wrong as well. So Stockfish is looking. Oh no, Bishop D8 again. So what's it looking at? Queen C1. Oh yeah. Oh right, okay, yeah. No, it's going all through our PV in actual fact. The Matthew PV is really the one. So it's following us up to here. So yeah, this was my PV, Rook C3, and now it's suggesting H4, distracting the queen away. I mean, I suppose the idea is Rook C1, we can just take, and then something like A takes B3. Yeah, that's annoying, isn't it? Because if you take my pawn, I'll take this one. And I was thinking for a moment I might be able to play F3, take the E4 pawn, but then I go B2 and Rook C8. So, yeah, that's going to be quite good. Okay, so H4, but I mean, I go, I don't know, Queen F3 or something like this. Okay, and then Stockfish is going to go Queen E1, B takes A4, and Knight G5, and he just wants to play this sort of ending. F takes E3. Oh yeah, Rook E3, Rook C8. It's all about all the tactics about this bishop on C7 being hanging. But F takes E3, Knight takes E4. I mean, I do have to say that this ending makes me somewhat nervous as black. Because I mean, you know, this passed A pawn is actually quite nasty, and I'm not 100% sure what I'm particularly doing with black. I mean, white's got the two bishops and a passed A pawn that will run fairly quickly. So yeah, I don't like that one very much, but presumably it's you know, if an engine's playing it, then it's going to be all right. But yeah, it wouldn't be my first. Certainly wouldn't be my first thought of, oh yeah, this is the safe harbour to aim at. Absolutely not. So interesting. Bishop D8 has been played. So we're going to get a few more fireworks there. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at Leela's PV and I'm thinking, oh, you know, I'm getting a little bit nervous about it. Sorry, just lock that one. Bishop c4, rook c3. I'm sort of thinking, why on earth have I allowed this? Simply, you know, just I've got my knight on h7. I'm going to get my 7th rank opened when I play f6. My a pawn is gone. You know, why on earth have I done this? Is the vibe that is the vibe that I'm getting when I'm seeing this. But you know, it's just sort of. I mean, look at that king. Look at that king. It's only vaguely working because we've cunningly sort of trapped the white queen somehow. But oh dear me, I don't like this at all, really. Oh yeah, but this is and this is just a draw, of course. I don't know. Possible, but I wouldn't. I don't fancy this one enormously with black, I have to say. I think definitely, you know, from a human point of view, this whole sequence with rook c7 and knight h7, you know, really, you'd never want to do this. Absolutely never want to do this, because it would, you know, it's just really increasing your the chances of something going wrong enormously. And you know, stuff like and you know, I don't know, I mean, the bishop on g5 was looking at a knight on f6, and now all of a sudden it's coming round c7, attacking a pawn on e5. You know, it's just really, yeah, I mean, white's activity has really increased there. So, but so far, you know, neither Leela nor Stockfish are worried. So, yeah, you know, I mean, that's going to be interesting. But it's going to make it quite. Yeah, it's going to keep it interesting somehow. You know, it's going to keep it interesting until the end, because I think there's still possibilities that that something could be missed. Is Leela having another long think? Yeah, 4 minutes 56 again. Yeah, spending a lot of time, but okay, it's a complicated position, so this really is the moment to spend the time. Yeah, if you look at the evaluation, Leela got worried for a moment there, but then gradually now it feels it's reading stuff in. Stockfish, yeah, had a big jump just in the opening there. And yeah, was very positive and had another little jump as well, but now sort of tapering off, really. So that's the general shape of the game. Just as I said, this feels like a rather risky way of playing for Leela, risky way of defending, but. We're going to see whether anything happens here. So king h2 and then bishop a6. That was Leela's PV. And then what was and then it was queen g3 afterwards. What does Stockfish think about this? Yeah, I mean, Stockfish is basically looking at is basically following Leela's variation and claiming a slight advantage, but nothing enormous. Although plus 1.17, that's interesting. Can I have this line? Yeah, but this is just Leela's. Okay, so let's have a look. Queen g3, bishop takes c4, rook c3. Now Queen g5 is one possibility, but white just sends up a pawn up in an ending there. So that's not what Leela wanted. Leela wanted to play Queen d2 here, after rook c4 to go f6. But yeah, rook a4. It's intriguing following this line. Rook. Rook a4, knight g5, bishop takes e5, bishop takes a5, and now queen e2. This was Leela's PV, wasn't it? Queen e2. Yeah, I mean, you sort of feel that if, you know, would it be possible for Stockfish to find something in a line like this? But bishop e3, king f7, rook a7 check, king g8. Yeah, this is just going to be drawn. This is just a drawn line that that Leela's looking at. Obviously, this is not TCEC hardware, so but it's decent. It's decent hardware. So if there was anything, you know, really clear, then we would we'd see it on here. And yeah, I mean, this just seems to. I think you can just say that it is actually hanging together what Leela's thought up. At any rate, it's not. It's certainly not obvious that there's anything wrong with it. So and Stockfish. Stockfish's evaluation gradually going down there. Looking at a different line to Leela, but yeah, I think this is definitely on the downward trend, as you can see from the evaluation chart there. You can really see just starting to fall away. Yeah, Stockfish's evaluation is quite is a little bit nervy at times. It's whereas Leela's does tend to be quite stable, except if it misses something, and then suddenly you get a huge boom. But no, just in general, that's in general. Yeah, I mean, when we're preparing the books, it's easier to base yourself on Leela's evaluation as a sort of a baseline, rather than Stockfish. So that's really what you tend to do. You take the Leela evaluation first as a good guideline, and then you know, just check it with Stockfish's evaluation. That's what's also nice is that you know, Leela's evaluation, it tends to get settled quite quickly. If it's if after, you know, 10 or 15 seconds it's at 0.15, then normally, you know, 10 minutes later it'll be at, you know, maybe 0.19 or 0.12, but it won't have changed significantly, you know. And yeah, you know, I think that's yeah, that makes it very nice and predictable and easy to plan against. Yeah, Stockfish getting a bit depressed now. Thought it had a good chance against Leela here, and it looked like it really did, but somehow hasn't turned out to be like that. It's I think yeah, I mean, Leela has defended well. Just sort of rolled with the punches, I think, and was ready to you know, to take some pawn down endings on and hold them, and yeah, had just enough to neutralize. It was I think it was actually a little bit fraught, but had just enough to neutralize the white initiative. So Very interesting game. Very interesting game. It's really nice to, to see, well, something like the idea that I came up with 25 years ago. To see that finally, on the board, because I haven't seen that idea anywhere since. Hasn't been one of the most, hasn't been one of the most popular lines of the Meran, but it's good to see that. And also good to see that there was quite a bit of compensation. I mean, that's also nice. It wasn't just some random inspiration that wasn't very inspired. I mean, I suppose the one thing I don't really understand is just looking at Leela's PV. Why is this better for white, actually? Can we actually win the... Are we actually just winning the knight, are we? Check, check, check. And then F3. Yeah, indeed. Queen B2, Queen F8, Queen F7, Fe. Okay. So and again, I mean, this is an easy draw, but I can tell you, if I had this in a game, I'd be scratching my head trying to be sure whether is this one of the ones that's just easy drawn, or is this actually okay for white. I mean, the pawn is, in all fairness, the pawn is quite a long way behind, so it won't be easy to to push it and keep black's queen at bay. So you probably work it out reasonably quickly. But still, it's just I think this is always the thing. I mean, especially when you're following computer analysis. I mean, you see this sort of stuff, and it looks really sort of obvious, and of course it's a draw when you're when you look at it, but when you come to the board, you're just assailed by all sorts of doubts there. So it's tough following computer analysis. Oh, actually, Stockfish has switched to Leela's move. So bishop a6. Yeah, this move bishop a6 now appearing in both for both Leela and Stockfish. So yeah, that's looking pretty clear. I think we're going to get we're going to get quite a bit of agreement. What's Stockfish doing here? Looking at bishop b6. And Stockfish is just claiming that it's a little bit better because it's got a bishop against a knight, but it's not. That's not going to lead anywhere. I'm pretty convinced about that. Oh, good Lord, do I have a favourite game in the whole TCEC series? My goodness, too many to mention them all. Well, actually, if you want to see some of them, they're going to be in the book above my head here. So the Silicon Road to Chess Improvement. But I mean, there are some absolute classics. There's there've been a few in the superfinals. Stockfish against Leela. There's one in the in a sort of a Notenboom Semi-Slav, where Stockfish sacrificed pieces, and it was just an incredible game. I mean, that was one of them. And then there was in the same Sufi, which was a very good Sufi for Stockfish, but Leela sacrificed a queen for 2 pieces in a Bogo Indian. Queen takes b4, and that was really an absolutely fantastic game as well. I mean, the last Sufi, there was again, normally you get per Sufi a classic each time, and in the last Sufi you had a Leela King's Indian where it played B4 at some stage, completely unexpected. I mean, it was a really incredible concept and won beautifully. And then there was a Stockfish game in a modern Benoni that was so unbelievably deep. It was fish seeing that I think it was a pawn down an ending. Black was in Zugzwang, and sort of 20 moves later, Black would have to resign and run out of moves. It was, and there was a brilliant attack that went before that. So, but I mean, really, there are just in the SuperFinals. I mean, those are the absolute pinnacle ones. But there are many good games. I mean, there was a great game. Stockfish Ali Stein, season 18 maybe, Division P, season 19 maybe, and I think Stockfish had just got an NUE, so it's probably 19, and yeah, I mean that was just a Leningrad Dutch where Ali went, got a great attack going, but Stockfish sacrificed the exchange in the centre, and then it played some move knight b6 that turned out to be instrumental in a kingside attack because the knight came around to d7 and e5. I mean, really loads and loads of these incredible games, and so there are really too many to mention. But hopefully, I said the book above my head, Silicon Road, that will be that will give you a lovely selection of absolutely fantastic games, with that hopefully understandable annotations as well to help you navigate through them. I mean, I think always the thing about the engine games is that you need to do two things really. I mean, you need to just make sure that the general line is clear, and that I mean, at the end of the day, it's still following general chess principles, so and plans and all of that. So that has to be clear. It's sometimes you in the massive variations that they produce and the tactics and the detail, you forget it. But that's you should never forget that, because that's really the basis of it. And then and then you've just got to try and explain the tactics in reasonably simple terms, what they're trying to do with the tactics, and I think then if you do that, then I think you can take general lessons from this chess. But I think it's very it can always be a bit of a frightening thing to do, to start analysing a game and that's been played by two players who are of a level that's way outside your own, of course, in terms of practical play. But yeah, I think it's I find it very, very rewarding. I mean, I really think I've improved my chess enormously by analysing engine games. My understanding, anyway. I mean, obviously for practical chess, you need different skills. And but that's just a question of your character and everything. But in terms of understanding of chess, I think really looking at all this engine chess has really helped enormously. I don't know what your temperature is, but here in the UK it's incredible. It must be about 27 degrees, but really tropical heat, really heavy and very very close, just and very humid. So really quite amazing. I don't think I've experienced weather like this in the UK before. Just we're turning into a tropical island. Yeah, I'm sure it will do. It's normally available on. It's published by New in Chess, so most of the books are available on Forward Chess and Chessable, Kindle, so that should I would imagine that's going to be possible. A book about computers and engine chess, it must be available as an ebook. That would be terrible if it wasn't. Stockfish having a long think about an only move, of course. Getting a little depressed, probably. Trying to work out where it could have done better. Still not trivial for black, but I mean for a human, but for Leela, of course, it is actually quite clear. I'm not expecting Leela to mess this up at all. Who do I want to win the Sufi? I don't mind really. I'm a big Stockfish and a big Leela fan, and a big Komodo fan as well, and a Snowflakes fan. I really, yeah, I don't mind at all. Yeah, I mean, basically, you just want to see some great chess, and obviously, you know, doing half of the book, I really want to make sure that that I don't sort of mess it up for everyone with that. So. Yeah, I mean that's the main thing, but no, I don't really mind. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I really don't know who's going to win this Sufi. I mean, you do always, you know, feel that Stockfish is the favourite, simply because Stockfish is just so good tactically. You know that, and you just feel that Stockfish is a bit better all round. You know, just. That its tactical ability and its power is just positions than Leela's positional acumen, but it's going to be a very close thing. It really is, and I mean, if Leela defends positions like this and manages to hold them, and just like the Benoni before, then yeah, I mean that's already that's keeping Leela in the you know, in the ballpark really for fighting for the Sufi, and yeah, and that win in the third game was pretty impressive too. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be a very tight one. I don't think we're going to have sort of a runaway Stockfish win this time. I don't think so. But yeah, that's just looking at a few games so far. So. Who knows? Yeah, Open Sicilians. Yeah, Leela plays the Open Sicilian pretty well, really. It's just that, yeah, I think things can happen quickly in there, and I think that's what we saw in the second game. That just one slightly loose move from Leela, and then Stockfish was on it like a monster, and so that's always the risky thing. But yeah, Leela's had some good wins on the white side of the Open Sicilian as well. Plays it somewhat differently to Stockfish, but powerfully as well. So yeah, it's yeah, I do think so. I think like a long married couple. It's yeah. I mean, I do think that Leela's. I was very impressed with Leela's defence. I have to say, just in Division P, you know, all those quite biased openings, and Leela lost so few games, you know, only against lost some games against the top engines, and well, lost one game against Stockfish, and then for the rest, yeah, held all the difficult positions, you know, very impressively. So yeah, I do think that Leela's defence has got very good, and that's really the bedrock of it, because of course Stockfish is a fantastic defender, and actually with NNUE, Stockfish got even better, which I hadn't even thought was possible. But I mean, it's great at this active defence. We've seen that you know, twice already in this Sufi. So yeah, I mean, if you want to challenge Stockfish, then good defence is going to be very, very important. I mean, there'll be some games that you lose that you can't do anything about, but yeah, games like this, for example, you definitely can do something about them. So yeah, you really need to hold them. Oh, I don't know, to be honest, how many Sicilians. I could. No, Vera, no, there isn't really a split, to be honest. We sort of both went away and prepared our openings, and then put it together, and basically tried to make sure that we didn't have any overlapping openings, and then that was that. So, but I think you're going to see all sorts from both of us. You know, it's yeah. I mean, I think we both aim for. You know, I think we both aim for stuff that gives that's reasonably you know, sharp and interesting. Gives plenty of opportunities for both engines to develop as many plans as possible. And you know, I think we both try and do that, and but in quite different ways, I think. So, and looking at it, yeah, you know, I looked through when we put the book together and all that. I just thought, oh God, that's nice. That's really nice. So yeah, looking forward to that. Ooh, okay. So Jeroen saying next line is 5 moves long, starts with 1d4, and has a high book exit. So you have been warned. Time to start focusing on what the next channel points bet will be. So ooh, next line is probably the highest book exit in the SuperFinal. So this could be a bloodthirsty one. I'm trying to remember which. Oh, now I'm intrigued. Yeah, just looking at you know, looking at Leela's PV and everything, and just always you know, amazed how I mean, I think that's the, you know, the things that engines do so well is they play lots and lots of these temporary pawn sacrifices, you know, where you give away a pawn and then 3 moves later, you know, the engine gets it back. But you know, when you're doing this, you know, for a human player, those things are really difficult to be sure about. You know, you're never being absolutely sure that you're getting the pawn back, you know, and that you're not just missing, you know, one small move that that prevents that. I mean, that's really yeah, you know, very difficult for humans. And you know, you just see in Leela's PV here that you know, it's just saying we're getting this line is just saying knight g5, bishop a5, queen e2, and yeah, and then the next move is bishop b6, and black regains the pawn. You know, Leela's absolutely convinced that that it's going to regain the pawn, and that a move like f3 is not going to work. And you know, for humans, that sort of thing, it's not the individual decisions that are terrible, but it's having to make those decisions and those calculations again and again throughout a game. And by the time you've reached move 41 in a game or something, you're already pretty tired, you know, and you're already, it's very easy to make mistakes. And I mean, from a practical point of view, that's one of the huge differences between engines and humans. You know, simply the fact that yeah, you know, we can calculate some tactics astonishingly well. You know, just for one move, but not for 10 or 15 consecutively. And obviously for engines, that yeah, you know, that just isn't a problem. And we get shaky, huggy, and then move on to the next game. That's I think what we really need is an engine bar, really. So with free drinks for the engines, so that it's just very tempting for them to agree a draw and then head for the bar. I think we really need that. Yeah, okay, sorry, my bandwidth's limited. Not really, to be honest. I've got, I really do have fast internet here, so I'm really confused about what's happening there. And my PC's absolutely fine. CPU's quite low. Memory usage not extreme. Some drop frames, but yeah. Yeah, maybe next time before I start the stream, I'll just test my speed. But it's kind of decent. It's not, yeah, It's not the world's fastest internet, but it's pretty fast. So streaming over the internet, always problematical, I have to say. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could just reduce the quality. I'll have a look. I'll see whether I can think of something to make things better. But yeah, just looking at the general statistics and everything, it looks kind of all right. Yeah, I mean, you're sort of hoping that if they get to oh, it's disappeared now, but if you get to something like this, then hopefully Stockfish's evaluation will drop, same as same as Leela's. And we're going quite low though, aren't we? We're going back down to 0.18 now for Stockfish, 0.19 for Leela. We're getting within range of the drawing zone. So that would be very nice. I mean, yeah, I was talking about those temporary pawn sacrifices. I mean, there's also just in the PV here for Leela. You know, I mean, this is one of the positions that Leela's considering, and you know, 4 or 5 moves later. Yeah, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should. Yeah, next stream I'll up the stream latency then, Viren. I will do that. Okay, I'll up the stream latency a little bit, and we'll see whether that helps. I was just having vaguely minimal latency. I think maybe 10 seconds or something like that. So maybe I'll. Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, I had much better experiences of internet than I have in England. Ever since I've come back somehow, you know, it's been bad. But yeah, I'm seeing as you. From time to time, it seems to be stopping and then carrying on. So okay, I'll well, I think we'll carry on like this for a while. Next time I start the stream up, I'll put an extra latency of about a minute now. I think I'm back now, but yeah, sorry Yannick, it's I mean, I've got, you know, I'm connected to the internet all over the place, so yeah, okay, well, I'll try and do that next time and we'll see. I do apologize to everyone. It's just not a huge amount I can do about it for now, but I'll adjust a few parameters for next time. We can have a look. All right, so yeah, sorry, I was talking about this line there in Leela's PV, that you know, 5 moves later or 4 moves later works or not. So again, you know, if situations where this good technique is necessary, you know, it's really yeah, really you really need an engine for that. Let me have a look. I'll just see whether I can I change the parameters on the fly? No, I can't. Yeah, if I want to change anything on the stream, I'll need to and start again. Well, actually, maybe I'm going to do that then. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the stream, and then I'm going to adjust the latency and all that, and then afterwards I will I'll probably wait for about an hour, and then we'll get to the end of this game, and then just be in time hopefully for your rune zones, and yeah, hopefully we'll have a better experience when I come back. Let's do that then. So thanks very much, everyone. Sorry about the problems with the streaming. And how long?